and Taro, Witch of the Black Rose. In Witch's Hollow, Taro is dreaming as she gets an unlikely visitor. Now, Taro's mother always told her to follow your dreams, but be careful because one day your dreams might follow you. As Taro continues to dream, a mysterious cat lady climbs on top of her naked body and licks her lips. But when Taro wakes up, no one is there. But no matter, Taro knows exactly who it is, as it's her ex girlfriend, Boo Kitty. But at some point, Boo Kitty would be retreating through the old Salem cemetery and she would take refuge in a tomb as her girlfriend Licorice Dust has been staked in the heart. Boo Kitty lays licorice dust on the coffin, and she wouldn't dare try to remove the stake herself, but she knows exactly who can help. But elsewhere, John the Skeleton Man would be at his house playing video games as he's chilling with the two-headed ghost girls Sally and Susan, and the ghost of his deceased dog, seeing as John can see spirits. Now, as John's getting ready to turn it in, he looks outside and he sees some intruders in the cemetery, so John runs outside as he gets ready to mobilize. Elsewhere, Boo Kitty goes back to Taro's place as she's back for round two, and she climbs on top of Taro's bed and starts squeezing on her kitty. But Taro would appear from the shadows, telling Boo Kitty hello, as it would appear a little dream told Taro that Boo Kitty was coming. Now, Taro's still kind of heartbroken, seeing as her and Boo Kitty broke up when Licorice Dust showed up. But that wasn't necessarily the problem. See, what happened was one night, Taro, Boo Kitty, and Licorice Dust would be getting fucked up and engaging in all the vices. Now, at some point, Licorice Dust wanted to taste Taro's blood, but when Taro denied her, Licorice Dust used her abilities to hypnotize Taro, leaving her helpless to her advances. Now, luckily, Boo Kitty would stop Licorice Dust, giving Taro a chance to recuperate. Now, Boo Kitty apologizes as she still has feelings for Taro, but unfortunately, she needs her help, as she explains several hours ago when her and Licorice Dust were enjoying a snow picnic. They got surrounded by several men, and Licorice Dust got impaled with a stake. Now, Boo Kitty goes on to explain that ever since her sister Raven Hex sent magical creatures to attack the humans have been trying to kill any creatures of the night as they claim they're all abominations conjured up by her sister. Now, Boo Kitty demands Taro help, and she tells her that if she doesn't, she'll drag her out herself. Now, Boo Kitty charges Taro, but Taro pulls out some powdered wolfbane and douses Boo Kitty, and this serves to incapacitate her temporarily. Now, ultimately, Taro does agree to help, but elsewhere, back at the cemetery, John has his hands full as he seems to have several skeletal demons invading his cemetery for some odd reason. But inside the crypt, as Licorice Dust is laying on the coffin, she actually comes to, and without the need of any assistance, she actually pulls the stake out of her chest herself. Now, outside, as John is trying to fend off the skeletal demons, he runs inside the crypt to take refuge where he actually runs into Licorice Dust. Now, Licorice Dust wonders what sort of creature this is, but as she really looks at John, she can see that he has blood flowing through his veins. Licorice Dust uses her hypnotic abilities to entrance John, and next thing he knows, he's caught up in her web like a spider. But before Licorice Dust can bite John, several of those skeletal pumpkin demons come busting through the window, knocking John to the floor, and this actually serves to bring him back to reality. Now, Licorice Dust is like, fuck this, and she actually retreats as she's refusing to let any of these undead minions get their hands on that sweet little vampire body of hers. Now, John actually follows in the footsteps of Licorice Dust and he climbs to the top in an attempt to escape from the skeletal demons. But everywhere they go, it seems to be no use as they're surrounded. Now, luckily, John and Licorice Dust get some much needed reinforcements in the form of Taro and Boo Kitty, who's actually happy to see John, and she tells him that these creatures are likely a result of her sister's spell casting, remnants of her foul misdoing. Now, as Boo Kitty and Licorice Dust reunite, they're happy to see each other as they share kisses. Now, John and Taro embrace as they're happy to see each other as well, but their reunion is short lived as Taro gets attacked by one of these demons. Taro gets tackled off the roof as she gets surrounded by several of these skeletal demons, but Taro whips out her blade and prepares to go at it with the creatures. Now, luckily, they're not alone as they're also assisted by Boo Kitty and Licorice Dust. But as Licorice Dust is still weak from being staked in the chest, several skeletal demons grab her. But before they can do any harm to her, Taro throws her blade and eviscerates the creatures. With all of the demons dead, Taro and John share a reunion as well as Boo Kitty and Licorice Dust, but for real this time without being attacked by skeleton creatures. Now, later that night in Witch's Hollow, Taro would be dreaming, but as Taro is sleeping, she gets an unlikely visitor from Boo Kitty. Now, Boo Kitty climbs on top of Taro's naked body and licks her lips while thanking her, but when Taro opens her eyes, Boo Kitty is gone. Nevertheless, Taro is happy to share one last kiss with Boo Kitty. The end. Thank you for watching.